Welcome to this episode of our program, Daily Debate. As usual, we will be discussing an important debate. Today we'll be speaking about Egypt's and its construction. Egypt has begun constructing 22 out of 50 fourth-generation cities nationwide. Since the start of the year 2018, the 15 new cities are to be built or complete by 2050. The Egyptian focus on fourth-generation cities comes as part of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's vision to provide a better life for Egyptians, face rapid population growth, and offer housing, investment, and job opportunities. The smart cities that have been established so far provided good investment opportunities. And President Sisi stated the need to observe infrastructure sustainability criteria in new city projects nationwide to meet any future needs once new cities become operational. He also underlined the importance of completing all housing projects as scheduled as per the best quality standards, while paying special attention to intercity roads, services, and landscape activities. This would be our episode tonight. This will be the topic of tonight. We'll be speaking about the state's keen interests in the National Strategic Plan for Urban Expansion nationwide, the smart cities that have been established so far, and the continuation of the other cities, and the significance of such cities. Before we delve into our discussion, let's have a top story of the day. And President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi said that African states have proven over the past year that the repercussions of the coronavirus pandemic could not stop the progress of African agenda. The president's remarks came as he inaugurated in a virtual speech the second edition of the Aswan Forum for Sustainable Peace and Development. The second edition of the Aswan Forum, which is organized under the theme Shaping Africa's New Normal, Recovering Stronger, Rebuilding Better, kicked off virtually today with the participation of various African leaders. The president highlighted in his speech that the serious economic and social impacts of the corona pandemic have contributed to exacerbating the dangers facing the continent. President Sisi also reiterated that the African demands on the international community to ensure the fair distribution of the coronavirus vaccine worldwide. He called on fellow African leaders to unify efforts to support the African mechanisms which aim to prevent or settle conflicts in the continent and to enhance various states' capabilities in facing ongoing threats. Before we shed light on today's important meeting and this important forum that Egypt has been preparing for, let's have a very short break and then we'll come back. Right, welcome back. And to shed light on the Aswan Forum for Sustainable Peace and Development, we have with us over the phone Nile TV's president and senior correspondent Taghreed Hussein. Taghreed, good evening to you. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good evening, Taghreed.
Hello, Mona, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you so much. Let me have your reading to President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's remarks during the inauguration of the Aswan Forum today, and please shed light on the objectives of this forum.
Mona, as you can read from the headline of the forum, Aswan Forum in its second edition, Shaping Africa's New Normal, Recovering Stronger and also Rebuilding Better. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi had reaffirmed that Aswan Forum for Sustainable Peace and Development is an African platform that was mainly launched during Egypt's chairmanship of the African Union. That was back in 2019, with the main aim of mainly achieving security, stability, and sustainable development in Africa, and also to promote cooperation and partnerships among the African countries. Addressing the opening session of the forum's second edition, the President welcomed the heads of state participating in the virtual event and said that COVID-19 prevented the African leaders from meeting face-to-face. However, Egypt was keen to hold this second edition in order to build on the outcome of the first one and also the success that has been achieved in it. The President had asserted his trust that the event is always a good chance for exploring the best means and the mechanisms in order to face the common challenges and discuss joint cooperation in order to overcome the COVID crisis and achieve also security and stability in the continent. As you know, Mona, that it is a very significant forum taking place. It is being held virtually from today, Monday, till the 5th of March. And it brought together leaders from governments, regional and international organizations, financial institutions, also the private sector and civil society, as well as visionaries, scholars. We've met earlier in the day with the key experts and ambassadors of the different African nations attending. And we are definitely building on the inaugural Aswan Forum and its conclusions. And it mainly aims at advancing a positive and forward-looking agenda as Africa charters on its pathway for recovery post-COVID-19. Mona.
Yes. If I may ask you, Taghreed, the edition of Aswan Forum today was held under the theme of shaping Africa, as you said, respectively, Africa's new normal, recovering stronger and rebuilding better. This exact motto, how did throughout the President's speech, how did you see the mechanisms he presented in order to implement such a motto, or what exactly did he have in mind in order to be able to rebuild Africa or regain Africa in a better situation?
We are translating actually this motto into action at the forum, where we find now an emphasis on the need to accelerate the shift from crisis management to conflict prevention. And this in an effort to strengthen the sense of resilience as an integral part of strategies to recover stronger and rebuild better post-COVID-19, as you've mentioned, Mona. Mind you that grounded in the African Union, the AU Agenda 2063, and also the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, the Forum continues to champion the African-led solutions and the different efforts and ensure that national, regional, as well as continental actors are better equipped in order to deal with the new normal now in the wake of the pandemic. So in that context, it comes focusing on the concrete measures of how to push forward the implementation of the humanitarian developmental peace nexus, both on the strategic as well as the operational level as well. So it has been very much well prepared. It took great efforts, and it's under the supervision of a national coordination committee headed by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Cairo International Center for Conflict Resolution, Peacekeeping and Peace Building. I earlier spoke to His Excellency, the Director General of the Center for Conflict Resolution, Peacekeeping and Peace Building, CCCPA, His Excellency Ahmed Abdel Latif, and he told me about conducting a series of webinars in order to prepare for this important forum, and how those webinars mainly aim to propose a list and a set of suggested actions and measures for the consideration of the African and international leaders, mainly aiming at strengthening continental and global cooperation and partnerships in order to advance sustainable development. Mona.
Right, Taghreed Hussein, Nile TV President and Senior Correspondent, thank you so much for being with us and for your input here. Moving on to our next top story of the day, and the representatives of the Coordination of Youth Parties and Politicians in the Parliament and the Senate extend their sincere appreciation and gratitude to President Fattah al-Sisi, President of Egypt for directing his sovereignty to postpone the enforcement of law number 186 for the year 2020, amending the real estate registration law for a transitional period of no less than 2 years in order to provide the opportunity and time for a community dialogue. The Member of Parliaments of the Coordination of Youth Parties and Politicians appreciate the President's call to establish a real community dialogue aimed at presenting serious proposals regarding the Egyptian real estate registration system through smooth administrative procedures and through fees that take into account the achievement of social justice. The deputies of the Youth Coordination of Parties and Politicians affirmed that the President's positions are always supportive of the Egyptian citizen who has faithfully and patriotically endured the economic reform measures that put the Egyptian economy back on the right path. The MPs of the Youth Coordination of Parties and Politicians pledged to always remain the voice of the nation and the citizens. The deputies of the Youth Coordination Parties and Politicians had issued a statement declaring their demand to hold a community dialogue on the application of the law in the statement regarding the amendment of the real estate registration law. Moving on to our topic of the day, and President Sisi urges abiding by infrastructure sustainability standards in new cities, finishing housing projects within agreed timing. Let's watch.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi directed continuing working on the new cities' housing projects nationwide according to agreed schedules and with the highest standards. During his latest meeting with Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli and Minister of Housing, Utilities and Urban Communities, Asim Ghazar, the head of state also asserted preserve sustainability. President instructed that all the road networks connecting the new administrative capital with its surroundings be as wide as possible to accommodate expected traffic volume. The meeting tackled the implementation status of the ministry's ongoing projects, especially the new cities under construction nationwide, such as the new Mansoura City, Rashid New City, the new Aswan City, and New Alamein City, which includes a national university that comprises a number of applied science faculties, an opera house, a library, and a museum. The President was also informed on the progress made in the construction work in the new capital, including residential buildings, the government district, and an iconic tower in the central business district. The housing minister said that 60 floors of the 78-floor iconic tower in the central business district in the new administrative capital have been constructed so far. Once finished, the almost 400-meter-high iconic tower will be the tallest building in Africa. The President also ordered that all the data relevant to a major rural development project be verified by specialized teams of academics, statisticians, and planning experts to gain an accurate and comprehensive perspective on the situation on the ground in the targeted villages.